right, it's Keith Chow with the Nerds of Color Hard Knock Life coming from San Diego Comic-Con 2016. We are right here on the convention floor at the Lion Forge booth with Lion Forge's newest superstar, Mr. Joseph P. Illidge. Welcome to Hard Knock Life once again.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back. I'm starting with Lion Forge as a new senior editor, and it's really exciting. We got a lot of plans for the company that books are going to be coming out in 2017, so a lot of master planning right now, but it's great to get the ball rolling, and no better place to do it than San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right. So Joseph Illidge is probably this is like your third time on Hard Knock Life.
Yep. I feel like, I've gotten past the virgin stage. And now we're in a relationship, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
pretty cool.
You are the returning champion. So you've been doing columns for Comic Book Resources for a while, talking about the need for like diversity in comics. You've been a big champion of that. And part of the things you always talk about is the fact that it's more than just characters of color. We need people of color behind the scenes making decisions. And how are you kind of embodying that now that you're with Lion Forge?
Well, I mean, the important thing for me is, my legacy really goes back to Milestone Comics. And I was one of the first generation employees there. I learned from the best, Derek Dingle, Michael Davis, Dennis Cowan, and the late, great Dwayne McDuffie. So my job at Lion Forge is an extension of that mission. When Dwayne McDuffie died, I realized that my job is to continue his work. So as a senior editor at Lion Forge, I am going to continue the mission that Milestone started. That is characters for everyone. That is creators reflecting these characters. We are not going to be black comics because I am black and because Lion Forge is a black-owned comic book company. We're going to be world comics, and that is what I am looking to help do here.
So when you got the call, like, what did you feel like when you were like, now I can be back in that position, right, where I can make the calls of like what writers are going to go on what books, what artists are going to what books, and what characters we can have.
Yeah, it's really exciting for me. I remember it was 1 or 2 years ago. I was on a panel with Mike Martz, the editor-in-chief of Aftershock Comics, and he talked about the excitement of world building. And what I'm doing now with the talent that I'm gathering is we're going to build a universe. We're going to launch it next year. And it's really great that I will now be able to once again make an impact on this level the way I did when I was at Milestone, the way I did when I was the first black editor of the Batman books at DC Comics. And during that time, we brought in characters like Crispus Allen. We brought in characters like Cassandra Cain, the best Batgirl there ever was. I did say it.
Yeah,
Cassandra Cain is basically the best Batgirl there ever was and ever will be. And so I am continuing that. And with my columns on Comic Book Resources, I get to really have a critical analysis and discussion. But the fact that I am now going to be able to put this into action is really exciting, and there is no better time to do it than right now. 2016 is a groundbreaking year for talent of color and for women, and I'm hoping to make 2017 even a better year than 2016.
Right, because that's a really interesting point, because as one of those people on the internet that critiques, the comics industry and then the pop culture industry, one of the things we always get is that, like, well, why don't you just make your own? Never mind that we did make our own Asian American comics.
Basically.
But that's kind of what you're doing, right? You're like, I do critique, I do criticize, but you know what? I'm gonna step up and do something about it.
Exactly. It's great to be able to put those things into action, because really that is the ultimate criticism. These books are going to be my statement and the statement of the creators I'm putting together about what comic books should be. They should be fun, they should be diverse, they should be universal, they should be imaginative, they should be accessible. Right now I feel like the industry is dominated by anger and cynicism. We need to get away from that. We need to get back to the fun. We need to get back to the optimism. We need to get back to the hope. And Lion Forge has a diverse group of talented people who are veterans in the business, who understand the comic book medium. I am blessed to be among their team, and we look forward to really delivering on our promise, and I look forward on to delivering on my personal promise.
Well, we are honored to be in your presence. I know I'm not Congressman John Lewis.
None of us are Congressman John Lewis. None of us are that person.
I will also shake your hand like Congressman Lewis did. And thank you for being on our in-person live edition of Hard Knock Life. Where can people find you on the internet, on your Twitter and all your social media?
You can find me at Twitter. I'm at Joseph P. Illidge. And Facebook, it's Joe Illidge. And let me see. On Instagram, it's illmaster1. And,
That's your rap name.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. And then other than that, you can find me, my columns, comic book resources, The Mission. They usually would come out every Monday at 6. We're shaking it up a bit, so sometimes when the news happens, it's when I'm going to comment on something. But I have my whole index of columns there so you can see what I'm about. And I am accessible, and I love to have discussions.
All right. Well, thanks again for being on Hard Knock Life.
Thanks for having me, Keith.
Thank you guys for watching and listening. Until then, I am Keith, and I will form the head.